Welcome back to this channel for practice problems for actuarial exams. My name is Krzysztof Ostaszewski. You can find information about me at smarturl.it/Jedi. My advice on how to pass actuarial exams is at smarturl.it/pass. This video channel is at smarturl.it/pass actuarial exams. Here you have information about online seminars and study manuals for exams PFM, IFM, and LTAM. I direct the actuarial program at the Illinois State University. You can find information about it at smarturl.it/actuary. If you would like to offer a tax-deductible donation to support our students, please go to smarturl.it/help ISU actuary. Here's a problem for today for exam IFM, Investments and Financial Markets. Determine which of the following statements about futures and forward contracts is false. A. Frequent marking to market and settlement of a futures contract can lead to pricing differences between a futures contract and an otherwise identical forward contract. And you should know that this is true, and in my study manual I give an example, and the idea of the example is quite simple. If you are trading a futures contract, you have to post a margin, and you may have to add additional funds to the margin account if you have a loss in your position, while if you have a gain in your position, you may take some money out of the account. So there are additional cash flows in the futures contract which don't exist in the forward contract, and those cash flows may force you to make additional investment or to divest a bit, and that changes the rate of return. B. Over-the-counter forward contracts can be customized to suit the buyer or seller, whereas futures contracts are standardized. That is exactly true. Futures contracts are traded on exchanges, and they are standardized so that more people can be engaged in those trades. C. Users of forward contracts are more able to minimize credit risk than are users of futures contract, and that's of course not true. It's the other way around. Futures contracts lower credit risk because in the forward contract you only have one counterparty, while when you're trading futures you're trading on the exchange, and so credit risk is minimized through two main things that we use in society to minimize credit risk. One is collateral of some property that guarantees the payment, in this case the margin account, and the other one is a rich uncle. In this case it's the exchange that guarantees that the trade will happen. I say this because I always ask my students whenever we talk about some financial transactions, I actually always say that if you understand how this transaction was done in the year 1000, you really understand the transaction. If you don't understand how it was done in the year 1000, you don't understand the transaction. So how was credit risk minimized in the year 1000? Imagine you were a farmer somewhere in some country, let's say in Europe. You wanted to buy a cow to have a better farm, and you're starting up, so what do you do to get the money to buy a cow? Well, you can borrow the money from some rich merchant in the village, and you go there and you ask, but will you get it? Well, the problem is credit risk. So what can you offer so that the rich merchant would be willing to lend you money? And the answer is, we can offer a cow as a collateral. So you buy that cow, but if you don't make the payments, then the merchant will take the cow. And the second thing is that if you have a rich uncle, the rich uncle can say, well, I vouch for this young man, and I'll pay if the young man doesn't pay. So basically it's only two ways. It's either a cow or a rich uncle that minimize credit risk. So a collateral or somebody who acts as a guarantor. Or to put it simply, a cow or a rich uncle. Nowadays, of course, the most important rich uncle is Uncle Sam, who's not really that rich because he's heavily in debt, but can create money out of nothing. So that's pretty good. So C is not true. D. Forward contracts can be used to synthetically switch a portfolio invested in stocks into bonds. Yes, because you actually can make switches like that with swaps, and swaps are series of forwards, so no problem. E. The holder of a long futures contract must place a fraction of the cost with an intermediary and provide assurances on the remaining purchase price. So that's the point of futures, that you post margin and have some kind of assurance of payment through mechanisms of the exchange where the futures are traded. So the last statement, E, is also true, and therefore statements A, B, D, and E are true, C is false, and the reverse of C is true. Futures contracts are more useful for minimizing credit risk. This is due to the daily settlement of futures contracts, and also due to the guarantees provided by the exchange. So answer C. Please remember, this is copyrighted material. The problem itself comes from the Society of Actuaries. The solution is mine. Good luck in your studies and good luck on the test.